I think she's fine with it because she's not there very often. So we moved to Florida a little while ago, right? Okay. So we're down in the South.
Most people only recently began to pay attention to Alan Ritchson in Hollywood. This is happening because of his recent role as Jack Reacher in the show Reacher. You might also recognize him from Fired Up or from playing Aquaman in Smallville. But here's something many people don't know about his solid marriage. He met his wife in one of the most unexpected ways ever. In fact, he's never said anything about it until now. Join us through this video as we look back at how Alan Ritchson met his wife and never let her go. How Alan Ritchson met his wife and never let go. While Alan's career is thriving, he's built something very important, a strong, happy family life. He's been married to Catherine Ritchson for 16 years, and together they have 3 sons. Their love story is easily one of the sweetest. They're high school sweethearts who met in a place you probably wouldn't guess. In an interview, when Alan was asked how they met, he hesitated a bit and said, "Can we keep this between us? It was in ballet." He seemed a little shy talking about his past as a dancer, but fans were thrilled when an old photo surfaced. It showed Alan and Catherine in costume from their dance production of Guys and Dolls. In the picture, Alan stood proudly beside her, smiling, dressed in a sharp outfit with a tie and a fedora. Seeing the photo again clearly caught him off guard. His reaction said it all. "Where did you find this?" Back when Alan and Catherine were still dancing together, she had a sweet little habit. Before every performance, she'd bring him cookies backstage. Safe to say, she knew exactly how to win his heart. Between the fancy costumes, rehearsals, and those pre-show treats, it didn't take long for their connection to grow. As Alan later put it, "Of course I fell in love. Around that same time in high school, something else was beginning to take shape. His physical transformation." Alan has described himself as a late bloomer, admitting that at 17, he still hadn't hit puberty. So he made a decision. If things weren't happening naturally, he'd take control. As he explained, "If I'm not going to hit puberty, I'm going to work out and get muscles." Eventually, everything changed. After a sudden growth spurt, combined with a strict workout routine, his body transformed almost overnight. By his senior year, he was known around school as the guy with the best physique. Alan's journey into entertainment started not long after, when he appeared as a contestant on American Idol. From there, he began landing acting roles, including his on-screen debut in The Butcher. By 2016, his career had picked up momentum, with appearances in projects like Black Mirror, Blue Mountain State, The Rise of Thadland, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Out of the Shadows. Despite his growing fame, Alan kept his personal life relatively private. He's made a conscious effort to keep his relationship out of the spotlight, though what we do know makes it clear just how strong their bond is. What we also know is that the high school sweethearts tied the knot in 2006 and have been strong ever since. Alan Ritchson, originally from Grand Forks, North Dakota, is married to Catherine Ritchson, an American producer and writer. Catherine has built her own path in the entertainment industry. She has produced projects like the 2017 short film Treehouse Time Machine and also worked as a writer on Employee 665. Before stepping fully into film production, she gained experience as a development intern at Comedy Central and also worked as a financial teaching assistant at the University of Florida. Eventually, she teamed up with Alan through Alleycat Entertainment, a production company he founded. Even with her connection to a well-known actor, Catherine has managed to keep her personal life very private. In 2012, the couple welcomed their first son, Caleb. 2 years later, their second son, Eden, was born, followed by their third son, Amory, just a year after that. With a growing family, Alan and Catherine stayed focused on building a strong home life, committed not only to being successful partners, but also present parents. For their 15th wedding anniversary, Alan shared a heartfelt Instagram post reflecting on their journey together. He began with the words, "15 years ago today, 2 kids got married." They didn't fully understand, at the time of making their vows, just how many beautiful and painful moments life would bring their way. As Alan later reflected, they had no idea what splendid and terrible things were ahead of them. Even through the highest highs and the most suffocating lows, they've continued to hold on to each other's hands. That enduring connection is what truly defines their relationship. Through career highs, personal struggles, and the constant pressure of life in the public eye, Alan and Catherine have remained each other's steady ground. Their story isn't built on grand Hollywood moments, but on consistency, loyalty, and the small, meaningful gestures that started it all, like cookies backstage and quiet support behind the scenes. It's clear that no matter how far Alan's career takes him, his family remains his center. In a world where relationships often fade under pressure, theirs stands as proof that growing together rather than apart is what makes love last. How much love does Alan Ritchson still have for his wife? Have they ever had issues? Keep watching to find out. Alan Ritchson will never let his wife go. Alan Ritchson was also honest about the challenges they faced as a couple. There were moments when they weren't sure how they would make it to the end of the month, and other times when life felt unexpectedly good, so good they could hardly believe it. Still, through it all, they kept choosing each other. he closed his anniversary message with, "Happy 15 years, Ritchson. I don't deserve you and the memories we make." When Alan mentioned the suffocating lows, he may have been referring to Catherine's past struggle with alcohol and her long journey towards sobriety. It's something she has spoken about openly, sharing her progress each year as she marks another milestone in recovery. She has been sober since 2018. Since then, Catherine hasn't just focused on her own healing, she's also begun encouraging others who are trying to live free from alcohol, especially in a world where drinking is often normalized. Through every stage of that journey, Alan remained by her side. No matter how difficult things became, he stayed present, offering support and standing with her when she needed it most. Most importantly, the couple has chosen to be open about their journey, sharing parts of their story so others going through similar struggles don't feel alone. In January 2022, Catherine and their children were involved in a frightening car accident. Their truck was hit from behind at a stop sign by another vehicle traveling at about 45 miles per hour. Thankfully, no one was injured, but Alan later shared the news with fans on Instagram. He posted a photo of the damaged vehicle along with a message of gratitude, writing that there were no serious injuries in either vehicle, thank God. He reflected on how quickly life can change, adding that moments like that are a reminder not to take health for granted. He also expressed concern for everyone involved, noting that although the truck was badly damaged, what mattered most was that everyone walked away safely. Despite the scare, their bond only seemed to grow stronger. By February 2022, Catherine was right there beside Alan for the premiere of his new Amazon Prime series Reacher in Los Angeles. Before entering the theater, Alan shared a tender moment with his wife, giving her a kiss as they posed together for photographers. Catherine, visibly proud, couldn't hide her excitement for his success and the moment he was stepping into. Catherine also took to Instagram to publicly celebrate her husband, sharing just how proud she was of him. She revealed that when Alan received the call telling him he had landed the role of Reacher, he looked as if he had seen a ghost, with his eyes welling up in shock and emotion. In her caption, she wrote, "I hope you love this series as much as Alan loved making it, because my goodness did he put his all into making it." In Reacher, Alan plays a reimagined version of Jack Reacher, a character known for his imposing 6 feet 5 inches, 250-pound frame, previously portrayed by Tom Cruise in earlier adaptations. After the show aired, many fans felt the same way, that Alan was perfectly cast. Not only did he fit the physical description, but his performance brought the character to life in a way that felt natural and convincing. Since the success of Reacher, Alan and his family have been enjoying the momentum and sharing moments of their journey on social media. While they've experienced many milestones together, one of the most meaningful parts of their story has clearly been building a family. How did Alan Ritchson become this guy? How did he grow to become this family man? Let's see how Alan Ritchson built his career. Alan Ritchson was born on November 28, 1982 in Grand Forks, North Dakota. His mother, Vicky, was a high school teacher, and his father, David, served in the U.S. Air Force before retiring as a Chief Master Sergeant. He grew up with 2 brothers, one older, one younger, and because of his dad's military career, the family moved around quite a bit. They lived in places like Guam, and when Alan was just 2 years old, they relocated to Rantoul, Illinois. Later, when he was 10, his father was transferred again, this time to Eglin Air Force Base, so the family settled in Niceville, Florida. That's where Alan spent most of his growing up years and eventually graduated from Niceville High School in 2001. He was raised in a Catholic household. Even as a student, Alan had a strong interest in acting. He took part in school musicals and looked up to Jim Carrey as a major inspiration. While still in high school, he went a step further, enrolling in college-level classes in music, theater, and dance. Between 1999 and 2001, he balanced both high school and college as a dual enrollment student at Okaloosa Walton Community College, now Northwest Florida State College. After graduating, he earned a full scholarship to continue studying music and theater there. He was actively involved in performance groups like Sound Stations and the Madrigal Singers. Still, after 2 years, he decided to leave, feeling unfulfilled. For a brief period, he worked at a gas station. Not long after, he signed with a modeling agency in Miami Beach, which opened the door to a few years in the modeling world. During that time, he worked with photographer Bruce Weber on campaigns for Abercrombie and Fitch and also did underwear and runway modeling. His spotlight moment came in 2004 when he appeared on American Idol, making it into the top 87 contestants during season 3. However, he was eliminated in the Hollywood round. One moment that stood out, his playful striptease during an audition caught the attention of Judge Paula Abdul. After the show, he chose to stay in Los Angeles and pursue acting seriously. Not long after, he landed a recurring role on the hit series Smallville, where he played Arthur Curry, better known as Aquaman. This was a big deal, as it marked the first time Aquaman had been portrayed in an officially licensed live-action production. Interestingly, His future co-star Justin Hartley later played Aquaman 2 in an unaired pilot, before joining Smallville as a completely different character. Ritchson even returned as Aquaman in the show's final season. He also picked up a variety of smaller roles along the way. In 2006, he appeared as an army officer in the Hallmark film Though None Go With Me, alongside Cheryl Ladd. A few years later, he played Lucian Manet in Nora Roberts' Midnight Bayou. He made guest appearances across several TV shows as well, popping up in Headcase as a stripper, CSI, Miami as a murder victim, and 90210 as a romantic interest for a main character. In 2010, he landed a breakout role as Thad Castle, the intense and hilarious captain of a college football team on Blue Mountain State. He stayed with the show until it ended in 2012 after 3 seasons. Around that time, he also appeared in shows like Hawaii 5-0. By 2015, Ritchson joined the NBC variety show I Can Do That, performing alongside stars like Nicole Scherzinger, Ciara, and Joe Jonas, with Marlon Wayans as host. A year later, he appeared in Nosedive, a widely talked about episode of the anthology series Black Mirror. In 2017, Alan Ritchson took on a leading role in the sci-fi series Blood Drive, showing a darker, more intense side of his acting range. The following year, he joined the DC Universe series Titans as Hank Hall, also known as Hawk. He was originally meant to appear in just 2 episodes, but his performance earned him a bigger spot as a regular in the 2nd season. However, as the show evolved and the cast was trimmed down, his character was eventually written out. Then in 2020, a major opportunity came his way. It was announced that he would take on the iconic role of Jack Reacher in a new series for Amazon Prime, bringing him to a whole new level of visibility. On the film side, Ritchson had been building experience for years. Early on, he appeared in movies like The Butcher and Fired Up. In 2007, director Robert Zemeckis used Ritchson's physical likeness and movement to help bring the character in Beowulf to life, alongside actor Ray Winstone. How much farther did his career path take him? How successful did these roles become? Keep watching to find out. Succeeding in and beyond Hollywood, Alan later appeared as Gloss, one of the tributes in The Hunger Games, Catching Fire. Another notable role came when he played Raphael in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, a reboot of the popular franchise. Despite the film's success, Ritchson later spoke out, criticizing the producers for how he and the other actors portraying the Turtles were treated during and after production. He also returned to one of his most memorable roles as Thad Castle in Blue Mountain State, The Rise of Thadland, continuing the story from the original series. That same year, he co-starred in Laser Team, the first feature-length movie from Rooster Teeth Productions. Along the way, he also picked up a supporting role in The Wedding Ringer, adding more variety to his growing film career. In 2018, Alan Ritchson stepped behind the camera, taking on multiple roles as director, co-writer, and producer for Dark Web, Cicada 3301, a comedy thriller inspired by the mysterious online group of the same name. He didn't just stay behind the scenes either. He also appeared in the film as an NSA agent. The project marked the first original production from his own film fund, Freaker Films. A couple of years later, Lionsgate picked up the rights and released the movie digitally in March 2021. By 2022, Ritchson had landed a role in Fast X, joining one of Hollywood's biggest action franchises. In 2025, he took on a leading role in the buddy action comedy Playdate. One of his recent and widely talked about roles has been starring as 81 in War Machine. The plot: in Afghanistan, a US Army staff sergeant rushes in to help his brother's convoy after it breaks down. In the middle of their conversation, his brother suggests they both try out for the elite Army Rangers, but before they can even finish talking, Taliban insurgents attack. The ambush is brutal. Everyone is taken out except the sergeant, who is left with a badly injured knee. Despite his condition, he tries to carry his dying brother back to base, but collapses before he can make it. He later wakes up in a hospital, only to learn that his brother didn't survive. For his actions, he's awarded the Silver Star, but the loss clearly stays with him. 2 years pass. Still carrying that trauma, he enrolls in the Ranger Assessment and Selection Program, hoping to earn a spot in the 75th Ranger Regiment. He's assigned the number 81. Physically and mentally, he performs at a high level, often standing out during training. But there's a distance between him and the other candidates. He doesn't connect with them and even turns down the chance to be a team leader, despite being one of the best. Thrown into the field, they find that Earth has been breached, and they fight hard to secure Earth's perimeter from these intergalactic war machines. Against all odds, 81 and 7 make it back to base, only to find it in ruins. There, Sergeant Major Sheridan and First Sergeant Torres deliver the real shock. The so-called asteroid wasn't just debris, it was the beginning of an invasion. An entire army of machines had arrived, and a global war had already begun. Outside of acting and filmmaking, Ritchson has explored other creative paths too. Back in 2005, he released an independent music album titled This Is Next Time. He also appeared in a Russian commercial for Orbit Gum and teamed up with his Blue Mountain State co-star Rob Ramsey for a web series called Enormous Friends, showing yet another side of his personality and creative interests. Alan Ritchson is open about his faith and describes himself as a practicing Christian. He often talks about how important his beliefs are to him and has said he'd like to support the growth of Christian-focused films in Hollywood. In January 2022, he launched a YouTube channel called Insta Church, where he shares his personal convictions and spiritual views. Although he was raised Catholic, he has since distanced himself from the Catholic Church. He has been outspoken about his reasons, particularly criticizing how abuse cases have been handled within the institution. In April 2024, an interview with The Hollywood Reporter revealed a more difficult chapter of his life. Ritchson shared that he had been sexually assaulted by a well-known photographer during his modeling career, which played a major role in his decision to leave that industry. He also strongly criticized aspects of the modeling world, describing it as exploitative. In the same interview, he voiced frustration with some Christian support for Donald Trump, questioning how faith and politics were being aligned. In a later interview with GQ in February 2025, Ritchson spoke about having gone to school with former Congressman Matt Gaetz, describing him in very negative terms. All of these experiences, both professional and deeply personal, have shaped Alan Ritchson into a far more complex figure than many people might expect at first glance. Behind the action roles and commanding screen presence is someone who has faced real challenges, navigated difficult environments, and made conscious choices about the kind of career and life he wants to build. Instead of allowing setbacks or negative experiences to define him, Ritchson has consistently used them as fuel to move forward. Whether that meant leaving the modeling world, speaking out about uncomfortable truths, or taking creative control through his own productions. What also sets him apart is his willingness to evolve. While many actors stay within a single lane, Ritchson has deliberately expanded his skill set, moving between acting, directing, producing, and even music. This versatility has not only kept his career fresh, but has also given him more independence in an industry that often limits creative freedom. His decision to launch projects like Dark Web, Cicada 3301 under his own banner shows a clear intention to build something sustainable beyond just on-screen roles. At the same time, his openness about faith, personal struggles, and controversial opinions has made him a more relatable and, at times, polarizing figure. But rather than avoiding those conversations, he leans into them, showing a level of honesty that isn't always common in Hollywood. As his career continues to grow, it's clear that Ritchson isn't just aiming for success in the traditional sense. He's building a legacy defined by resilience, authenticity, and creative control, qualities that ensure his impact will extend far beyond any single role or franchise. What do you think about Alan Ritchson's beautiful marriage? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you for joining us as we look through what true love and marriage can feel like. We hope you found this video both interesting and inspiring. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the next video on your screen to explore more interesting celebrity stories. See you there.